the Harold Burson Professor of Public Relations in the College of Communication at Boston University. And in addition to that, I'm currently ending a 5-year term as the chair of Boston University's Department of Mass Communication, Advertising, and Public Relations.
So we should say before you start giving us an overview of your career that one of the things that makes this interview special is you taught me public relations 101 at the University of Georgia 150 years ago, but who's counting, right?
Yeah. I sure did. Yeah. And I think that says some good things about both of us in terms of, because there are others I've stayed in touch with, but the staying in touch is sort of a two-way street. It's not just one. I mean, when PRSA selected me to be the educator of the year that time, you walked into the ceremony with a rose for me, and there's that's kind of a story with some of the teaching that went on at Georgia at that time in the Henry Grady school, and and we've kind of stayed in touch off and on, over. I need to get a calculator to figure out how many years that is, but it's
I don't think the numbers go that far.
It's in double digits, and the first number is not a 1. Let's put it that way.
That's right. So I'm going off track a little bit, but I hear you saying that relationships are really important in public relations. And what about the College of Fellows? Like, what inspired you to join? And wouldn't you say that one of the benefits are the relationships that you've made as part of that organization?
Yeah, I think absolutely. I mean, I'm one of my strong beliefs is that public relations is not a profession, and it's not a profession because we haven't met certain requirements for professions that you'll find in fields like medicine, engineering, social work, a whole bunch of places. You can go into public relations work without ever studying public relations at a university, and I think that's the fault of public relations educators like myself, because we got too wrapped up in individual politics, and because of that, we haven't concentrated like helping this young woman, this young man, to do the best that he or she can do. I also think that the College of Fellows provides a great opportunity for people like us, you and me, and others who have been in the public relations industry working for multiple years. It provides us with an opportunity to give back. And we need a strong national professional society. Those organizations, we were just talking about medicine and law and engineering and social work and so forth and so on, that they have national associations, and you can get to, you find out. You go to the conferences, you could go to the online conferences and so forth and so on, and wind up sharing your thoughts and ideas, and you're continuing the education. I mean, just because you got a degree, in your case, from the University of Georgia, doesn't mean the learning stops. It has to continue in many ways, and so should the networking and staying in touch and knowing who people, knowing who's who in the field, et cetera, et cetera.
Now you were in class 2, if I'm correct, of the College of Fellows?
Yeah, the second class of That sounds, no, the initial class of in the College of Fellows was a lot of the real legends, the Harold Bursons, the Dan Edelmans, the Al Gores, the those kinds uh, of people. And I was in the second. I was in the second class, and I can still remember the induction ceremony uh, in New York, because the timing clashed with the New York Marathon. And I was a runner in those days, and I ran the marathon and got my medallion for the fellows, and
You
at
got
the
two
same time.
medallions that year.
Yeah. So, but it does provide an opportunity for also for some of the more senior PRSA members to get together, and because PRSA is a large, more than 20,000 members organization, and it's much more of a mid-level organization, and the College of Fellows, has you have to be a number of years. I mean, you don't just like graduate from college and join the Fellows the next day. You have to. And not everybody gets into the Fellows. That's one of the things that I've wondered about, because I've spent some time encouraging others to become members of the college, and it's not a slam dunk deal. If you are a PRSA member and you meet the qualifications, you still have to go through the rather rigorous process of becoming a member, and for many people, it takes more than one try. So
That's right. Do you remember your own personal experience of doing the application? Do you remember
no, that's so long ago that I don't. But I do remember some people encouraging the people. In those days, I was very, very active in PRSA. I was back active in creating the educators section, which became the Educators Academy, and a number of organization things like that. But I don't remember the process. So
do
I
you
do remember the process of getting accredited and filling out the APR application, which, for the most part, most of the regulations require that if you want to join the fellows, you have to be APR, accredited in public relations. There are some exceptions to that, like, for example, the gold anvil winner automatically becomes a fellow, and regardless of whether he or she has been has the APR status and stuff like that. But we're wandering. We need to get back on track.
do you have, I mean, advice for people that are considering applying for the College of Fellows in terms of how you select your career highlights? I mean, do you remember any of the career highlights you included in your application, or that you would if you applied today?
Yeah, my strengths at that time, and probably still today, sort of a combination of the scholarly writing, articles about ethics in public relations and so forth and so on, and also doing a lot of things to try to bring the practice of public relations together with the various elements of the industry, and trying to summarize those, because they tell you, they'd ask you a question that you could write 3 pages on, and they'd give you two lines of space to cram it into that. So that would be the main, and it's a little bit different for those of us who are in public relations education, vis-a-vis those who are working in corporate or nonprofit or agency or the other elements of the practice.
Do you recall any like particular benefits or experiences you've had being involved at the College of Fellows? Any highlights that you would recall?
And I know this would be kind of strange, but one of the big highlights is going to the annual conference, the PRSA conference. A lot of people call that the icon, but I don't think there's enough international stuff in there to warrant that acronym. But be that as it may, that the networking opportunities are really a good opportunity and I hope we'll continue to do that. One of the things that we're talking today via a Zoom platform, and we're not in the same city and so forth and so on. I hope we don't move all of our professional development into telephone calls and Zoom calls and so forth and so on, because I think that being able to sit down and look across the table at two or three colleagues is over a cup of coffee or something stronger. That I think that those are opportunities that the College of Fellows can really deliver on, and without too much competition.
So you mentioned earlier ethics. Would you say that has been one of your guiding principles throughout your career? And where do you think we are?
I would hope that people who have followed my career would think that I was an ethical person who had worked hard and who did the right thing and so forth and so on. And ethics and social responsibility, that's one of my areas of emphasis. Also, employee communication is pretty high up there, and then international public relations. I've been a pretty big advocate for people. If you're going to do public relations in country X, you better have on your staff people from country X and/or who speak the language and I'm not just talking about colloquialism. I mean, if you're doing stuff in Germany, you should speak German,
Yeah, it's really good advice. So, if you were across the table from a young person starting out in their career, maybe 5-10 years into their career, what would you say to them about preparing for the College of Fellows and encouraging them to apply?
Well, being active in the public relations industry, that's the main thing. I mean, I think that it's if you really are interested in getting involved in the College of Fellows, it takes time and takes money and so forth and so on. I mean, not great, huge gobs of money, but it does, particularly if you're going to benefit from the networking, you have to travel to wherever the conference is and so forth and so on. And you have to register for this and register for that and pay the annual dues and so forth and so on. So I don't think anybody plans their career with the intention of at one point getting into the College of Fellows. But I think that those people who are, who have, whatever the rules are today, the prerequisite number of years and enough experience, then I think that those people should try to follow what's going on. That there are alternatives, but and I think there's also like a renewed spirit within the, when the college started back, before the turn of the century, it was more fired up. More people showed up at the events and so forth and so on, and it's good. It's good to see more. The numbers are getting larger whether it's a Zoom session or whether it's a meeting at a conference. I think all that's good.
So this has been great. Are there other? Do you have any stories or points that we haven't covered that you want to make before we wrap up?
Do we have like 3 or 4 days?
Yeah, I know. We can do part 2.
Part 2. I think we better do that on part 2 because also if I was going to, as you know, if I was going to talk about some of those things, I'd have to check with legal counsel first to make sure that statute of limitations. The point of it is, I think you can have fun in the public relations industry, and that you and I both know of that soon-to-be famous singer who had a song about how wonderful it was to be active in the Public Relations Student Society, PRSA. We need some more of that spirit throughout the organization today. But it's all good, and I'm deeply honored that you care enough to ask me the questions you've asked. And,
well, the honor is all mine, and thank you for your time, and we look forward to part 2.